Oh, it was good. That was real good.
Let's go.
Okay.
More days of Solar Shed, day 42.
A rafter runs through it. That's our sequel title for the day. What's up? What are we doing today?
Today is all about putting the fascia board on the north side of the building.
Reach for the stars, kids. Reach for the stars.
This is the north side, right? Yeah, north side. Wait, why'd you say the reach for the stars?
Because it's like, we're just doing one time thing.
Oh, yeah. Guys, I told you, we're slowing down a little bit.
We gotta slow down. We're killing ourselves.
Well, not only that, we also are working full-time. We're homeschooling. We have other things to do in our lives besides build.
YouTube don't pay the bills, guys.
No, it doesn't.
So, we're focusing on the back fascia boards today. I know it's not a ton of, actual work.
I really love your fascia.
Oh, I love your fascia, too. Oh. What other kind of really corny jokes can we make about...
I'm sure there'll be some.
Fascia boards. We're going to put up the back fascia boards. And then that's it.
That's it. That's all you get.
Because you gotta go take a break.
I have other things to do with my life.
You've got friends to go hang out with and have dinner with. And I've got videos to edit and clients to talk to. And
wait, I have been working, you know?
Yeah, I know. Did I say it like you hadn't been?
Yeah, it's kind of like you got to go hang out with your friends while I do all the work.
That's not what I meant.
That's what it
I'm
sounds
sorry.
like.
I didn't mean that. You have been working your butt off.
Okay, guys, we do not have time for shenanigans today.
Actually,
we have to get her done. Get it? Because the fascia board's going to hold the gutter. Are we tired?
it went better this time. Last time was terrible, but this time went pretty quick.
Last time we had intense winds.
The wrong size screws, the wrong size drill bit.
Yeah.
And no clamp.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous. But this went a lot, it's lower, a lot easier.
That only took an hour.
Yeah.
Good job, babe.
Nice. Good job, babe. The time has come again. The gorilla cart has become stuffed with things we don't need and we can't find anything in it. So we got to clean it out and organize and put everything up in the garage. Welcome to another question and answer session with Jonathan and Ashley.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jonathan. And today we're looking back at day 37.
Like the sunshine shining in the summertime, sneaking in my window just to say hello. Well, hello, hello. You're waking me up with only a one touch, and your brain smile melting me like snow. Oh,
37 was a big day.
Yeah.
It was the last day your dad was here.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all extremely motivated to get as much done as we could. So what did we do?
Well, first things first, we got to get the front rafters on.
Exactly. We finished the back rafters the day before. And so now we had to do the front rafters.
And sister them together.
Sister them?
Yeah.
I've never heard that word
Yeah.
before.
They're sistered together.
Okay. Yeah, so one thing, we had a few people say, well, you shouldn't overlap the rafters because we had one coming from the back, one coming from the front, and then they cross over. They sister. I guess that's what they call it. But if you know what you're doing, like Ashley's dad does, that's not a problem. The back rafters were not all exactly the same length. Some of them were longer, some of them were shorter. They all just had to come over that middle beam.
Yeah, so our main goal with the front rafters is to keep them as long as possible.
Right.
So that they
Because it's
can
the longest
overlap.
span, right?
Yeah, but also
Yeah.
so that they overlap the back rafters as much as possible.
Right. Yeah, and then we would screw them together. We'll get to that in a minute, though.
Yeah.
So you were back cutting the bird's mouth notches again, but we just had to move everything and make a few different adjustments because it was a different length. And even as we started to put those in, we were still making adjustments to the beams here and there to make sure that they fit those notches perfectly.
Right.
It was still minor adjustments,
Like
but
1/16 of an inch
right, yeah.
adjustments.
But it was still, we were still moving things just a little bit as we went down. And we did the same thing. We toe nailed them in, 2 screws on one side, 1 on the other, and then opposite at the other beam. Because I always mix up beam and rafter. And that's how we put them in place.
Yeah.
So when they did sister next to each other, they didn't always match. So if you had them sitting like this, sometimes one would be sticking up further than the other one. And so the way we would get around that is where they actually were at the same height, you would put a screw in, and then you would take a clamp and you'd pull the end of that board down and then screw it in the rest of the way. And that way you keep your pitch even. You don't have a rogue board popping up and throwing your pitch off. So we continued to make those rafter adjustments and make sure that they were in line with the right pitch. And we got all the front ones put in, but we couldn't put the decking in until we put the side rafters in.
Right, those were the last rafters we put in because they are not going to sister together. They actually butt up right next to each other to form almost like a fascia board to where we have one seamless line down the side.
And that, I was so impressed that it was all cut and like it went together and it was gorgeous.
Yeah, you
it
know
was
who cut
perfect.
those?
You cut those.
Yeah, I
Yeah, you did. Now, the way that we join those together, though, I mean, we did do a little bit of toenailing into the beams, but we also took another piece of 2x8 behind them on the inside and screwed them
Sistered
together.
it together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Made a sister joiner piece. Is that what it's called?
That's what it's called
I
now.
don't know. Kind of like how we joined our 4x6s with long 2x4s. It's the same idea.
Yeah.
So you did something from the outside, it looks like one piece.
Yep.
That's really nice.
Great.
And then,
Keep it short, babe.
it was time for decking.
Yeah. started in the bottom corner.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that first piece is square.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
And so your dad had us actually start with a shorter piece because we have 4x8 sheets. He had us do a 4x4, right? Or whatever.
It was a weird dimension.
So the way that we ran it is you run to the edge of the building and then to the middle of a rafter. So when the decking butts up against each other, they're both landing on the same rafter.
Right.
So those you have to toenail in because otherwise you'll just splinter the edges out. And that's no good.
Yeah. But the most important part of installing the decking was to make sure that none of our seams were overlapping.
Right, yeah. And so as we put those in, and we went long ways across the building as we installed and then went up to the next level. Mm-hmm. But we didn't put all the screws in, so we did corners and then we did across the top and the bottom. But when we did the tops, we also measured to make sure that the rafters were still in the right place. And if they weren't, we had to push or pull that rafter to get it right in that 16-foot center.
16-inch center.
16-inch center. I knew that sounded weird. The most important part about installing that decking is making sure we don't just stick a bunch of 4x8 sheets up all perfectly lined up. You want to offset that. So we started with a 4-foot piece. And then 8/8 all the way down. And then on the next one, we started with an 8-foot piece.
Not all the way down.
Well, until you got to the end, you had to cut it. Anyway, you know this. This is basic roofing decking stuff. You just, you don't.
You don't ever want your seams in a line.
Right, exactly. Oh, one last thing that we had to do, besides making sure that we had to finish sistering the boards together, the rafters on the inside, but we also had some strapping that we needed to put on before we put the decking on. So this is kind of hard to explain. I'm going to do my best. In almost every single case in the building, the hurricane straps go straight up and then over the beam. But on the end of the building, because we have a circle, and because we have this LVL that runs all the way across, we had to find a way to tie that end down. So we ended up going over the rafter instead because we had two right at the end. And so it actually goes up over the rafter. So we wanted to make sure before we put the decking down that it went over the rafter and we could tighten it down.
That was confusing.
It's confusing. We had somebody asking why we didn't put all the straps over the rafters, and that's because you would have to twist that strap 90 degrees to make it go, because it would go up and then it would twist and go over the rafter.
Yeah, you don't want to twist.
Which would not, it seems like that would destroy the integrity of it.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but it just doesn't seem like a good idea, in my professional opinion.
Are you professional?
Because I'm a professional. Oh, and also, because we were putting the decking on, and we knew that we weren't going to finish it.
Do you think they can see all this dust flying in front of us?
Also, because we were putting a lot of that decking on, we didn't quite finish it, but we got most of it done. That meant that all of a sudden we had created a large sail for the wind to grab and to pick up. So your dad said, let's go ahead and throw some of these hurricane straps over and hand tighten them down. Not all of them, but just some of them until you get it finished. You finish the decking, then you can come back and do it later, like you saw us do. Was it today's video?
One of those days.
One of these recent days where we finally got to actually ratcheting down all this straps. So we did have hurricane straps on it for a few days, just not all the hurricane straps. Listen, guys, this is the final look back, and we hope that we have made it as clear as mud for you.
Yeah,
as one commenter said, clear as mud. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
We're trying our best.
Anyway, that's our wrap up, and we just have to take a second and thank your dad.
Yes.
Because holy smokes, we could never have done this without him. He flew out here and he went like nonstop for 4 days.
Yeah.
And
taught us so much.
Yeah.
And we are so thankful.
Exactly. Yeah.
And thanks, Mom, for letting us borrow Dad.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. So anyway, that's the end of our look backs, our question and answer sessions. I'm sure we'll have another one at some point.
There will be no more question and answer sessions.
No, they're fun.
That is all for day 42. And guys, we will see you tomorrow.
9, protect us. Come on. Do your guard dog. Oh, you got him on the run now. Yeah, there you go.